The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Greetings, everybody. This is Ben Rasmussen from the National Center for Frontier Communities and the Center for Health Innovation here in Silver City, New Mexico. And we're going to be talking today about the food quality tool that we're going to be starting at 4 different locations. Dattle in Catron County, Deming Helping Hands down in Deming, Spirit of Hidalgo in Lordsburg, and the Volunteer Center here in Silver City. And what we're going to be doing is monitoring the quality of foods that comes through our food pantries. As far as we know, there's no monitoring of food quality that's being done in the state at the pantry level. Around the nation, there's a number of projects underway in food banks that have been monitoring, but that's all at the food bank level. So we're interested in seeing what the quality of food is that's coming through our distributions and into the boxes and homes of the people we're trying to serve. We're excited about this, and we're really eager to see what the data shows. And we're just trying to get a whole picture, an objective view of the current state of the distributed foods. And this is part of a larger health impact assessment that's looking at the current model for commodity food or TFAP distribution in rural and frontier communities as compared to the more urbanized environments. Like I said, there's 4 different sites. We serve 4 different counties. Catron, Grant, Hidalgo, and Luna counties. And these are just the pilots. So we're going to do this for 3 months in May, June, and July and see how it goes, and potentially even be continuing to do this at all the different food pantries. Over May, June, and July, we're going to analyze and put the data into the final health impact assessment, as well as being publicized in other outlets. And like I said before, the overall goal is to get an objective view of the quality and quantity of distributed foods and to raise awareness about those issues. So it works. There's going to be a tablet provided, and the tablet will be preloaded with 2 applications, the FujiCate application and the TinyScan application. And the FujiCate application will be used to actually monitor the foods, and that's a nutritional database that uses barcodes and manual entry to gather that sort of data. The foods will also be entered onto a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet will help us know the weight of the box. It'll help us know what items go into which box, and then we'll be using the TinyScan application to scan the bills of lading, the spreadsheet. I'll also be using the built-in camera to take pictures of items that are not able to be scanned in. There's a couple different steps involved. The first step is assembling the boxes. In most distributions, there are slight variations in what goes into each box. For example, the first box that goes to the first 10 people could have bags of frozen chicken, fresh blueberries, and maybe some potato chips or something like that, whereas every subsequent box would have a can of salmon, blueberries, and maybe French fries. So we're only going to do 2 variations if there are any. Sometimes there's more, but we're just going to look at the first 2, and we're going to scan those all into FujiCate, and we'll go over how to do all this stuff in depth. After we scan them in, we can enter them into the spreadsheet so we know which items go in which box. We'll weigh each of the boxes. We'll scan the bills of lading, the spreadsheet, and then we'll email all the documents to the email that I provide. So step 1 is assembling of the food box. In order to determine what items will be in the box, speak with the coordinator once the food arrives, or if it's a non-mobile food pantry, once you determine which items will go in the box. And we're going to want, like I said, the first 2 variations. And each item will only need to be scanned once because it can all go into Fujicate, and then on the spreadsheet you'll label which items go into which box. Once you have the boxes assembled, find kind of a place off to the side where you're not going to be too distracted, where you can go through the items and scan. I'm guessing it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes per box. So in your tablet on the home screen, you'll see a Fujicate application with a little orange on it. Go ahead and open that up. You might come to a screen like this. I've already logged into the tablets, but in occasion that it logs you out automatically or something like that, click the login button and log in using the information provided right here, the email and the password. The home screen looks something like this. It has your three main options right up here along the top. It has scan, browse, and track. Down here are all the news items that come up, and these can change day to day. And these are just interesting news stories related to food and nutrition that the Fujicate team puts together. I highly recommend that you get familiarized with this. It's a free application that you could download yourself. It's full of all sorts of useful information and provides a nice tool if you're interested to seeing, the quality of the foods that you're eating. But the scan, browse, and track are going to be the main features we're using. If you go to the menu bar, you'll see something like this, and here are our features: scan, browse, and health tracker. All these ones down here are kind of interesting. Please don't mess around with the goals, the account, or personalization, as that can sometimes skew the nutritional data that comes out. For example, if you put that you're interested in losing a lot of weight, it might rank certain foods that are otherwise healthy as a lower grade because they're high in calories or something like that. But the daily tips are good, and feel free to look at anything else. So to get started, you have your items that you're going to scan. You can do it in any order that you want. I usually just like to scan the barcoded items in first because it's kind of the easiest. So let's start there. So open this tab right here. You'll see the scan or the little barcode. You can click on that and it comes up through the camera on the device. And once you have that up, you can point that at the barcode of the item that you want to scan. Make sure it's well lit and you're holding it still. It'll scan automatically. Sometimes it can take up to about 5 to 7 seconds to actually recognize it. If it really starts taking longer than that, chances are that it doesn't recognize the barcode or it's not connected to the internet, which I should have mentioned earlier. In order to use this, you have to be connected to Wi-Fi or to mobile data. Now, I believe that all of the pilot sites do have Wi-Fi. Catron County's got something else they're working out, and in Lordsburg, I believe they're going to use one of the volunteers' mobile data as a hotspot. And if that's the case, please let us know because we'd love to reimburse you for the data used in this tool. So you hold it on there, and then it'll scan. It has many items already in the database. In the occasion that the item does not scan, it'll prompt you to take a picture for their use. If you'd like to do that, you can go ahead. Otherwise, just click cancel to make it go a bit smoother. So go ahead and click cancel, and then we'll cover what to do in this case in a few slides, but that's just going to involve taking pictures of the front, the back with the built-in camera application and emailing those to my email address. The other way to enter items is to browse for them. And by clicking the little magnifying glass up here, you're able to enter the item, and this works particularly well for fresh produce, apples, broccoli, or for dry food items such as white rice, brown rice, lentils, beans, anything like that that is, a standard whole food item that doesn't have a barcode. So enter the item that you want. If it's an apple, you don't know what kind of apple it is, that's fine. Most apples are pretty similar in the content of their nutrition, so you could just put apple with skin or a small Fuji apple or something like that. And once you click on the item or once it scans in, you're brought to the item page. The item page will look something like this. It'll tell you the item you have up here, the grade it gives the item, And it'll give explanations for that, the nutritional information, and it'll even provide you healthier alternatives, which doesn't get much healthier than an apple. Am I right? Okay, but what we're most interested in is the tracking device. And now once you have the item scanned in, you can go ahead and click Track. Once you click Track, it'll bring up a screen like this. And for a lot of things, especially whole produce, it tells you what a serving size is. So 1 apple. So if you have a bag of 10 apples, you're going to put in 10 servings. If you're doing ramen noodles, and each ramen noodle package is 2 servings, and you have 2 packages, you just put in 4 servings, and so on and so on. If it is a whole food item such as white rice or beans or something like that, and you're not sure, I provided kind of a reference guide that'll have, dried beans, and it'll say something like, a half a cup of dried beans is a serving size, and a half a cup of beans is about the size of a billiard ball. So then you could go and just estimate about how many of those are in the bag, and you could do it that way. Another thing that you could do is a lot of the repack items that you may or may not get from Roadrunner, they will have a label on there, and it'll say something like Special K cereal, and you could actually type in Special K in the browse section, and Special K will most likely come up. Once you have the serving size down, we want to be mindful of the meal. There's 4 counties, and there's 4 meals we can track under. Grant County is going to always be breakfast. Hidalgo County, which is Lordsburg, is going to be lunch. Luna County, which is Deming, will be dinner. And Catron County will be snack. Please always stick to these designations. It'll really help us when we're trying to go through the data later on. So once you got your meal selected, click OK. And then repeat this for each item that you have in there. Once you have all the items that you're able to scan or enter, you can click on the Health Tracker button, and it will bring you to the meal screen. The meal screen looks something like this, but you will have many more items. And once you have, just go through and make sure you have them all and the serving sizes are right. Then you can save as a meal. Once you save it as a meal, it'll bring you to a screen like this, and we want to make sure we're saving it under the pantry name and then the date after that. So for Deming Helping Hands, just put Deming HH and then the date. That should work just fine. For Daddle, put Daddle Food Pantry and then the date. That should work just fine. And click Add. And after you save it, you can go ahead and modify it if you need to, but just make sure you save it before you're done. So back to, if you scan a food item, a processed food item, and it's not in there, what do you do? So what we decided would be the best is for you to take a picture using the tablet's built-in camera application of the front label or the back label so we can clearly read the nutritional facts, and send those in an email to the email provided up here. If it's something like a box of French fries and it doesn't really have a label or a barcode, but it says what it is, just take a picture of what it says it is and send that as well as marking it down on the spreadsheet. And what I will do is I'll actually search for similar items in the grocery store and take down their nutritional information. After you got all the items scanned and photographed, we're going to weigh the foods. Each place should have a scale. Lordsburg, I know we're sending a scale because the scale they had wasn't quite heavy duty enough, but I believe every other place has a scale. If that's not the case, please let me know as soon as possible, and we'll be sure to get you a scale. Go ahead and put the box on the scale, zero it out, and put all the items that are going to be going in a given box. So not both of the variations, but the first variation, all the items that the person would be taking home, all the breads, everything like that. and record the total weight, and then repeat for a second box if necessary. Like if a second box just has, just doesn't have the meat, just take out the meat, and so on and so forth. But we just want to see, of the different boxes, how many pounds of food everybody's taking home. The spreadsheet will be done like this. You can put the date, the name of the pantry, and the total recipients, and that'll be at the end of the day how many people actually came in and got that box. If you are able, how many recipients for each type of box would be great information to have. I understand that might be a little tricky, so if you're not able to get that, maybe an estimation, at least for the amount of the first box, would be great, and then we can just figure out the second box based on that. The weights go right here, and then the food items. So this will be every food item that goes in the box, and it'll look something like this. It'll have, refried beans. If there's 2 cans, you just put 2 cans, ramen noodles, 2 packages, and so on and so forth. And then continue that. Don't worry about the retail price. That is something that after the data is collected, we'll be going out to grocery stores within each county and trying to figure out the retail value of each of the boxes. And if one of the participants or the recipients were to go to the grocery store to buy, what was in the box, how much it would cost them. All right, so that's pretty much it for documenting food. Please feel free to call me at any time. I also included a copy of this PowerPoint in the documents I sent you. But call me anytime, and we can work it out. The other part is scanning the bills of lading, the completed spreadsheets, and any other documents that we'll need to scan. And that's open up the Tiny Scan document. And once you open it, you'll get to a screen that looks a bit like this. This is kind of the home screen. For each new date, you can go ahead and click on the camera right here. And once you have your documents, you want to make sure you have a very flat, well-lit surface. And the reason for that is because if it's at an angle, or if it's too dark, or if the sun's shining directly on it, then you will not be able to get a really clear picture. For example, try not to lay your paper like this. This would give you kind of an angle, and once it converts it to PDF file, it would be very hard to read. This is much better. Even this could be improved upon. This has a crease right here. So go ahead and take the picture. Once you have the picture, it's going to bring you to a screen like this. This is actually just set the boundaries of the document. Go ahead and go up and down and make sure you have it to the 4 corners. If you do something like this, or it's crooked, it's not only going to cut out that portion, but it's also going to stretch the rest of this into a rectangle, which would give you a very distorted and very difficult to read document. Once you have it done, if it looks something like this, obviously you're going to want to redo it. This is a good example of kind of what it should look like right here. This is done on my phone, but you can clearly read everything on here. There's no issues with that, so that's what we're looking for. Once you're done, we're going to want to save it once you're sure it's legible. Save it under similar to what you saved the Fujicate meal under. The name of the pantry and the date after that. For every subsequent document you scan on that day, make sure you name it the same. That way it'll scan it into a batch. You see down here there's 21 documents in the batch, and that'll just make it a lot easier to send. Once you have all of them sent, you can click this little triangle button down here, choose email, and email it to this right here. That's me. So for the first date in May, we're going to want that day's bill of lading, and we're also going to want the previous 6 months bill of lading for that location. That might be a little bit time intensive to scan, but it's going to be really good information for us to have when we're looking at different trends, or if we can see that the quality and consistency of the food has been pretty regular. in the past 6 months. So that's what should be scanned, this filled out spreadsheet, current bill of lading as well as the previous 6 months. And then for June and July, it's just the current bill of lading and the spreadsheet. And for the items that were not able to be scanned in, make sure you email those to that same email address. So are all of the items scanned and saved in Fujicate? Have you scanned and sent the bills of lading and the completed spreadsheet? And have you returned the food? And that's pretty much it. Like I said, if there's any questions, you can call me at 575-654-5130 or email me at the email listed right here. And that's my mobile phone, so I should answer just about any time. Please don't hesitate to call, and thank you all so much for being a part of this. This would not be even remotely possible without all of your help. We really think that this will give us, a good picture and help us to get more food and possibly even better food out to the people that we're trying to serve. So thank you all so much. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.